Today we will read The Best Christmas Present in the World Part 3. You can get the link of Part 1 and Part 2 in the description box. So viewers, I am Shoma. Welcome to my YouTube channel Unique English Lab. Let's start the lesson. I folded the letter again and slipped it carefully back into its envelope. I kept awake all night. By morning, I knew what I had to do. I drove into Bridport, just a few miles away. I asked a boy walking his dog where Copper Beaches was. House number 12 turned out to be nothing but a burned out shell, the roof gaping, the windows boarded up. I knocked at the house next door and asked if anyone knew the whereabouts of a Mrs. Macpherson. After reading the letter, which he knew he should not have read in the first place, he placed it back neatly in the envelope. The narrator could not sleep that night, and the next morning he knew exactly what he had to do. So he drove to Bridport, which was just a few miles away from his place of residence. He asked a little boy who was walking his dog for directions to the Copper Beaches. He went there looking for the address mentioned on the letter, but house number 12 was all burned down. Its roof was all open and the windows were covered with boards of security. To inquire about the whereabouts of Mrs. Macpherson, he knocked at the house next door. "Oh yes," said the old man in his slippers. He knew her well, a lovely old lady. He told me a bit muddle-headed, but at her age she was entitled to be, was not she? 101 years old. She had been in the house when it caught fire. No one really knew how the fire had started, but it could well have been candles. She used candles rather than electricity because she always thought electricity was too expensive. The fireman had got her out just in time. She was in a nursing home now, he told me. Burlington House on the Dorchester Road on the other side of the town. The old man in the slippers knew the lady personally. He called her a lovely lady who stayed a bit confused most of the time, but he blamed it on her age, for she was 101 years old. Her house caught fire and she was saved by the firemen. The actual cause of the fire is not known, but people suspect it to be candles. The old lady used a lot of candles as she thought electricity was too expensive. The old man told the narrator that she was now lived in a nursing home named Burlington House on Dorchester Road, which is on the other side of the town. I found Burlington House nursing home easily enough. There were paper chains up in the hallway and a lighted Christmas tree stood in the corner with a lopsided angle on top. I said I was a friend come to visit Mrs. Macpherson to bring her a Christmas present. I could see through into the dining room where everyone was wearing a paper hat and singing. The matron had a hat on too and seemed happy enough to see me. She even offered me a mince pie. The narrator went to Burlington House nursing home, which he found quite easily. There were Christmas decorations all over. The hallway was decorated with paper chains all over, and at the end there was a Christmas tree with an asymmetrical angle on the top. He introduced himself as a friend of Mrs. Macpherson who had come to give her a Christmas gift. He could see everyone at the dining hall. They were all singing and wore paper hats. The narrator wore one such hat too. She was happy to see the narrator and even offered him a piece of mince pie. Mrs. Macpherson is not in with the others, she told me. She is rather confused today, so we thought it best if she had a good rest. She has no family, no one visits, so I am sure she will be only too pleased to see you. She took me into a conservatory with wicker chairs and potted plants all around and left me. So here, as she walks him through the corridor, she tells that Mrs. Macpherson does not get visitors often as she has no family. According to her, Mrs. Macpherson would be delighted to see him. She mentions that she is not celebrating today as she was a bit confused, so that thought it would be better for her to rest. She took him to a conservatory which had chairs made of wigs and potted plants. The old lady was sitting in a wheelchair, her hands folded in her lap. She had silver white hair pointed into a wispy bun. She was gazing out at the garden. "Hello," I said. She turned and looked up at me vacantly. "Happy Christmas, Connie," I went on. "I found this. I think it's yours." As I was speaking, her eyes never left my face. Inside the conservatory sat an old lady in a wheelchair with her hands folded in her lap. Her white hair was tied in a neat bun. As she sat there, she was staring at the garden when he entered. The author went and said hello. She turned her attention towards him as he continued wishing her Happy Christmas and gave her the letter. She constantly looked at his face while he spoke. I opened the tin box and gave it to her. That was the moment her eyes lit up with recognition and her face became suffused with a sudden glow of happiness. I explained about the desk, about how I had found it, but I don't think she was listening. For a while, she said nothing but stroked the letter tenderly with her fingertips. It was only when he handed her the tin box that her eyes became radiant due to immense happiness. After handing the tin box over to her, he explained the series of events that led him to the letter, but she did not listen to a word he said, as she was filled with so much happiness. Nor did she say a word. She just sat there holding the letter in her hands with gentleness, kindness, and affection. Suddenly, she reached out and took my hand. Her eyes were filled with tears. "You told me you would come home by Christmas, dearest," she said. "And here you are, the best Christmas present in the world. Come closer, Jim dear, sit down." As he stood there silently, Connie moved and took his hand while her eyes were watery. She said that he had fulfilled his promise of being there by Christmas. She even said that he is the best Christmas present in the world. She then asked him to come near her and sit beside her. She called the author Jim. I sat down beside her and she kissed my cheek. "I read your letters so often, Jim, every day. I wanted to hear your voice in my head. It always made me feel you were with me. And now you are. Now you are back. You can read it to me yourself. Would you do that for me, Jim dear? I just want to hear your voice again. I would love that so much. And then perhaps we will have some tea. I have made you a nice Christmas cake, marzipan all around. I know how much you love marzipan." So here he did as she said. He went near her and sat down while she kissed him on his cheek. She told him how she read his letter daily, considering the author to be Jim, and it made her feel like she was with him. She longed to hear his voice, but then she mentioned now that he is here with her, he can read out the letter to her in his voice. She asks if he would do that for her. She explains that she just wants to hear his voice badly, and if he could do that for her, she would love that. She suggested that they can even have tea afterwards. She then told him that she even made his favorite Christmas cake with marzipan. She is well aware of how he loved marzipan. So viewers, in next video I will solve the questions from the text. We will have a meet in the next video. Thank you.